Welcome to Co-Work Radio here on KZSB 1290 AM. I'm Catherine Raymock.
And I'm Jane Walker-Wood.
And we're a show all about the modern entrepreneur. Each week we interview two company founders. We've got a couple of wonderful ones today we'll tell you about in just a bit. But first we want to thank our big sponsors, Impact Hub Santa Barbara, thank you. And also a big thank you to Montecito Bank and Trust.
Rashelle Monet Smith is here with us today. Rashelle is the inventor of the Umbii Dog Bed. It's a very unique way to train your puppies, sort of a doggie playpen without walls.
Yeah, it's a great idea. 5-time Grammy winner Allen Sides is also going to be here, and we're thrilled. He is the owner of Ocean Way Audio. He's designed and built and owned some of the most successful music studio complex in the world and national, international locations, and has worked with many of the greats. So
the most successful.
Yep. In a minute, we'll tell you about next week's guests, too. But first, we generally do business news in this portion. And since our fire and floods, we've been also shifting to local news as well. So we're going to start a little bit with that. We've heard a lot about the new Bucket Brigade. It is the spearheaded by Abe Powell. And I got to tell you, volunteer extraordinaire on the Montecito Water District Board. And I think last weekend they had 500 people that came out on Saturday and Sunday. They met at Lower Manning Park, and they were equipped with masks and gloves and buckets, and they went out and helped people dig out of mud. And you had some more information about them?
Yeah, ideally they like you to bring your own boots and wear long pants, no yoga pants, long sleeve shirts. You can bring your own gloves and N95 masks if you have them, otherwise they'll supply them. And if you go onto Facebook and go to their page, you can download basically a volunteer application to say whether you want to be there this week, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, which is 9 to 3. And if you have any physical limitations, let them know, because there's also administrative jobs you can do. And then sometimes afterwards, they kind of have a little bit of a party. They had food last week for a Super Bowl at Los Arroyos, and I know marjoram wine. So it's the people are very grateful.
Yeah, I have heard. And by the way, Santa Barbara City College, we just saw Jeff Green there, the fiscal agent on this, helping out there. And I think they're also doing something in conjunction with the United Way now. I know Abe was meeting with them this week. So you'll probably see the Bucket Brigade for quite some time. My guess is it's going to grow.
Yeah, on Facebook, they're called Santa Barbara Bucket Brigade, because believe it or not, there are other bucket brigades. So look up Santa Barbara first. Now, Santa Barbara residents need to post more positive photos on social media. That's the message from presidents of Visit Santa Barbara and Visit California marketing campaigns. The problem with all the recent negative photos of the fire and mudslide devastation is it's giving tourists an inaccurate impression of Santa Barbara. We remain a world-class travel destination, so go post some blue sky, white beach selfies today. And also invite your friends and relatives to visit, because normally 13% of all tourists are invited here.
I was just hearing about the city, and I know there was something by the California travel or
Visit California.
Visit California. They had their thing at the Radisson earlier this week as well, talking about that. And I think it was today in the Santa Barbara News Press, they had the stats for this last couple of months, and that the city of Santa Barbara has lost like $1.5 million just in bed tax.
I did read that, yes.
Yeah, it's going to be...
But it's a great time to come, because there's lots of specials on hotels and restaurants, and our weather is as perfect as ever.
That is so true.
And speaking of a great time to come, we have 3 new restaurants coming to Montecito Inn this month: Scratch, Crab and Company, and an ice cream shop. That's Chefs Philippe and Margarita Lee. They hope to open on February 16th. That would coincide with the Montecito Inn's 90th year anniversary. And for those of you who don't know, Montecito Inn was founded by Charlie Chaplin.
Yes, who just celebrated what would have been a birth anniversary, I think, as well, and has a film. There's a film to that end in the
At the film festival?
Film festival this year. Yeah. So we were just talking with somebody else that was observing the same thing that we've seen. Boy, the Montecito Inn, they've been on it. They have workers there, I think, 24 hours.
They are really amazing.
A day. And you told me something I did not know, which is very heartwarming. So in honor of the 23 victims that were lost in the slides, they have a spotlight that they're shining for 23 days there in the evening time, and they just started that a couple of nights ago.
Yes, they did. They've really been incredible members of the community, and it's great to see them out there cleaning up so quickly. And I think the place looks better than ever.
It does, but it's very strange that it's so close to these long-term exclusion zones as well. So, hey, if you want more information on the latest of what's going on, you can also go to countyofsb.org. And don't forget, 211 is a great resource. Obviously, you don't want to use that in case of emergency, but if you still have questions about long-term exclusion zones and such. All right, shifting over to some interesting business news. Now, check this out. Supposed to be an epic court battle. Two opponents, Uber and Google, squaring off. It's in San Francisco.
Squaring? Are you making a joke because of square?
No, but that's good. I like it. Apparently, it's living up to its hype. So they have been in court for the last couple of days. In the opening arguments, I believe it was yesterday, Google's former car unit, which is Waymo, compared Uber to Rosie Ruiz. Do you remember who she was? She was the woman who cheated in the 1980 marathon. She took a bus and then said she actually finished the marathon and didn't. Well, they're trying to say basically that Uber bolstered the self-driving car program by using technology that was stolen from an engineer at Google. But we'll have to find out how things end up there.
There's lots of great educational opportunities here in Santa Barbara. Fund for Santa Barbara is accepting applications, and that deadline is coming up at March 2nd. This fund supports groups working towards social, economic, environmental, and political change in Santa Barbara County. And if you're considering applying, there are free grant application workshops online.
Perfect. Hey, after the break, which we're going to take here in just a second, one of our favorite segments, our UCSB professor, business author, John Greathouse, here again to answer your questions. You are listening to Co-work Radio here on KZSB 1290 AM. Follow us on social media, and thank you to our sponsors, Impact Hub Santa Barbara and Montecito Bank and Trust, and we'll be right back. Do you have a special event coming up? Go to Zoto's for all your party needs. At Zoto's, they offer packages for birthday parties, corporate and team-building events, accompanied, of course, with a light show, DJ, delicious food, bowling, and full bar. Call 967-0128, where the staff will help you plan and execute an exciting event, all within your budget. Go to Zotos.com to book your party now, because when you're having an event, it's got to be Zoto's.
Koto Group. We are a boutique property management firm located here in the Central Coast. We are small enough to prioritize your business and large enough to match the right tenants with your property. Koto Group. We work for you 24/7 with around-the-clock marketing and emergency service. At Koto Group, we use leading-edge software, making us efficient and cost-effective. Koto Group. Property management for the 21st century.
Hi, I'm Dan Farrick, Managing Director of the Impact Hub Santa Barbara. Come visit us and find out why co-working spaces are booming. Our 2 locations in the Funk Zone and downtown Santa Barbara offer private offices, permanent desks, and a variety of co-working memberships starting as low as $60 a month. Mention Co-work Radio when you book our tour, and we'll give you 10% off your first 6 months of membership. Join a community where you can live and work smart. Go to impacthubsb.com or call 284-0078 to find out more.
Welcome back to Co-work Radio here on KZSB 1290 AM. I'm Catherine Raymock.
And I'm Jane Walker-Wood.
And we are here with UCSB professor and business author John Greathouse. So good to see you. How you doing, John?
I'm doing awesome again, as usual. How about you?
Oh, good. It's always good to see you.
Likewise.
Great. We have a question today from Walter. Walter wrote in and said, I'm a really small business, and customers want me to take credit cards. I've seen a lot of people using Square and Apple Pay. Are there others I should look at? And are these platforms worth the money?
Well, I think the word that I heard most distinctly in your question was small business. I think you want to be really careful spending too much on overhead early in your business. Every dollar you spend should have a direct return on investment. So one mistake entrepreneurs make at times is to invest too heavily in infrastructure, and then they don't have the sales to support it. So with that said, I would build up to better and better infrastructure as your sales ramp as well. So look for something that's very inexpensive, maybe even free. There are some free offers out there. Also keep in mind that sometimes the free stuff doesn't come with good reporting or inventory management, and that's really what you want to make sure your point-of-sale system is giving you. You want to know who your customers are, how you can reach them again, and what they're buying so you can order more of it and order less of what they're not buying.
Well, how much does something like Square cost? I have no idea.
I frankly don't know. I think at one time they were giving away the devices. I have a friend that's an investor in that company, and I think they stopped doing that, or I think they charge a nominal amount because it was too expensive for them, but I'm not an expert on it. So I'd say somebody should go in and just look. I know about Apple Pay and Venmo. All of my students use Venmo to push money back and forth. So anyone under 30 is going to be a Venmo user already. So
Can you explain what that is, since I'm not under 30?
Yeah, well, neither am I. It's actually what PayPal wanted to be 20 years ago. So the original PayPal founders sat around a table after dinner, and they wanted to split the check. And one of them said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if I could just send you money on my phone? Well, this was, again, 20 years ago, 15 years ago. And they actually started the company to do that. It turns out it was way harder than it was worth, and they ended up becoming what we know of today with PayPal. But now that technology is available. So simply by having a Venmo account, if I have a Venmo account and you have one, I can seamlessly and effortlessly and within seconds give you money, essentially, into your account.
You work with students a lot. So
Right.
do you think this generation that you're teaching right now will likely never write a check and very seldom use cash?
It's interesting. I have a reader that I offer the students. It's optional. They don't have to buy it. But I've noticed over the last year and a half, I haven't gotten a single check. And I used to get, you get a fair number of checks from students, cash and check. And now it's all Venmo, very little cash.
I was talking to my stepson and his girlfriend over the holidays, and they said they carry no cash, and they wonder if it negatively affects the amount of tips you get at a business. I think I tend to tip more because the screen comes around.
Right. Me too.
And you just hit the 20.
Yeah, that's what I like about, and again, depending on the type of business Walter has, you might want to have that feature. I'm the same way. If they flip that screen around and it says 10, 15, 20, like I'm going to give them a decent tip off of that.
It does kind of put you on the spot, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. No tip for you. Thank you.
Have you ever been in line in the supermarket recently and someone pulls out a checkbook and everybody groans?
Yeah.
Like, oh.
And it's audible now. It's not like it used to be, kind of a little quieter.
Yeah. I just was curious. This is not to Walter's question, but because you were talking about virtual money or sending money back and forth.
Yep.
Your thoughts on Bitcoin?
Oh, my gosh. So I think Bitcoin is it's too speculative for my taste because it lacks that centralization and that regulation. The underlying technology that makes Bitcoin happen is called blockchain. It's one of them, and that has huge potential to change many aspects of our lives.
You mean how they mine? Is that
it's related to that, how coins are mined and it's really more related to how do we track those coins over time. That's what the blockchaining does. And so it's a way to authenticate transactions in a way we needed third parties before. So think of a broker when you're buying a house. Like, I can't trust that you're going to give me that money. Right. So I have to have a third party take the money first, hold it. They get all this, and they get way too much money to do that. The fees on those transactions are
the escrows.
exorbitant. Yeah, the escrowing. So think about transactions where you need a lawyer or an escrow agent or something like that between you. Those can go away with blockchain. Like with blockchain, I don't have to worry whether you're going to pay me or not, and I don't have to pay an office full
Now,
of
should Walter
people.
be taking Bitcoin? I'm going to say no.
I would say
probably
no.
not.
I would say no because but seriously, it's a good question. But one reason you wouldn't is the fluctuation. It'd almost be like taking currency in Brazilian currency, where it just fluctuates so much. One day your coffee might cost you 30 cents, and the next day it might cost you
Sure.
$4. It's too much variation. I will throw out some other options, though. And again, Walter, I'm not an expert. Some of the less expensive options, there's a thing called Clover Go, and there's iZettle, Zettle. Intuit has one called GoPayment, and there's one called SparkPay. I'd also look at PayPal here, which is one of PayPal's options where they're trying to compete with Apple Pay. So there's a lot of options out there, and I think whenever you see that many options, you're probably going to find a price point that works for you. Just make sure the infrastructure and the back end with the reporting is there.
And with all those options, do both parties have to have the same platform or app? No,
like a Venmo, yes, because for me to send Venmo to you, you need a Venmo account. But no, some of these, in fact, most of these are going to connect with credit card or